with questions. Because we sort of finished a lot about what shiftless is, what lowliness is, and what bittul is, qualification is. And we need to put it together, but before we put it together, problems, questions.
With this topic or with this?
Well, everything we've covered. What did we cover? Okay. So what we're going to do now is we're going to put it together. And here's the thing about the human psyche. We started with the idea that life has ups and downs. The ups you deal with what? What's the key? What keeps you from flying too high, from crashing on the way up? Bittul or shiftless? Which one? Let's go backwards. Shiftless is a dynamic in the psyche that causes you to go from where to where. What did David do? What did David do? He was bringing the Aron what? Up to Yerushalayim or down to Yerushalayim? So what does shiftless cause you to do? No.
Brings you up.
It actually takes you up. That's the whole trick here. It's the opposite from what you think.
It sounds like it would bring you down, but in reality, it brings you up.
Right. It's what makes you excited about things. It's what is the antidote to depression. The more shuffle a person is, the more lowly he is in his own eyes, the less depressed he is. The more you get excited, the more you feel that you can do everything to get out of the situation that you're in. It's all up to you.
But the lower that you feel, the more depressed you are.
That's not lowliness. Lowliness means what? Lowliness. Feeling lowly. Lowly means I have nothing of my own.
So what's the difference between that and bittul? That's just...
Bittul is that everything that I do, Hashem did. So bittul is the antidote for going too high. If I go too high, what does it mean to go too high? It's not just pride in myself, that too, but going too high usually means feeling that I don't have responsibility here below. That's really what it means. A person has had such success that what does he feel? That what's the next thing I should do? Take a day off. Okay? I did something really good, and what's the result in the way that I see myself? I deserve time off. I can go enjoy myself on the beach. Bittul brings you down, back down into reality. There's a lot more work to do. You're not finished. Because the moment that you have this feeling that somehow I've surmounted everything, I'm above everything now, comes the idea that you have not attained anything yet. You've only just begun working. Why? Because who did everything that you've done until now? Hashem. You're just an insignificant helper. You're just the cursor where it's happening. So the cursor can't take a day off because Hashem wants to do more. So He needs me here where I work. When do you get this feeling? When do you get this feeling, for instance? It's 2 o'clock at night. Let's take your world. It's 2 o'clock at night, and I had a really good day learning and with my friends, and I did chesed, and I did this, and I did that, and I'm tired. And suddenly somebody calls me up and says, "Can you help me with something? I want to go to sleep. Can you help me with something?" Where do you get strength to do that from? From bittul. That who's doing it? Hashem's doing it. It's not me. There's infinite capacity to continue doing, as long as you don't take the credit. When you take the credit, you burden yourself with carrying what you did like it's yours. But the moment that you attribute it to Hashem, you toss it off yourself. It's not yours. You don't have to carry it. So success is not yours. Give it away and make room for more success.
What about mistakes?
The mistakes are yours. Those are yours. What are they good for? For lifting you up.
So God only gets credit for the good things.
Hold on.
Something wrong, it's on us.
If the success is, you're saying the success is not yours, why would that lead you to wanting to do like, oh, now I have.
Because you haven't done anything yet.
Success that's not my own.
You haven't done anything yet today. What today?
Seriously? That's like an empty pit.
What?
It's like an endless pit.
Mm-hmm. Endless energy, not an endless pit.
That's not realistic.
Try it.
How can God help me?
I'm now giving the secret of the ability to work 20 hours a day. That's the secret. It's not such a big secret.
The Rebbe always pushed people in a nice way.
He wanted you to be as much as you could be. Maybe you'll be like the Rebbe, maybe you won't. But you won't be what you could be if you take the credit to yourself, if you have to keep carrying your successes on your shoulders.
I don't understand how God can only be credited when it's good.
This is psychology. We're not talking here. I don't want to get into how the world really works. We can. It's very similar.
What I mean, let's say a child makes a mistake. It's kind of on the parents, sometimes. The way that the child can do what to do.
So what?
So then when we make a mistake,
Why is it so painful to say that you made a mistake? Why do you have to find somebody to...
something good, it's not on me. It's not my...
So you want to get credit, and you want to place the blame somewhere else.
No.
It'll make you feel better.
Responsibility, but I also want to accept achievement.
Yeah, but I'm telling you that the moment that you take the achievements for yourself, they will bog you down. They'll pull you down into the end. They'll pull you...
Healthy self-esteem.
Oh,
That
wonderful.
you didn't do anything.
The reason that you don't have a healthy self-esteem is because you have to find satisfaction from others. That you're dependent on others giving you your self-esteem. Your self-esteem is only before Hashem. And if you're running the tally correctly, if you're running the cheshbon correctly with Hashem, you're always with good self-esteem. Hashem has infinite self-esteem for you. There's no lack. The lack is when you're dependent on somebody else giving it to you, a human being. Nobody's going to give you enough satisfaction. Nobody's going to give you enough compliments. Nobody's going to give you enough of what you think you deserve. Guaranteed. Even your husband. You'd like him to, but even he's a human being. Will be a human being, hopefully. Her husband. We'll talk more about that. Continue. So if I'm going too high, meaning I feel like I've had a lot of success, natural inclination after you have a lot of success is to take a break. Is to want to feel that I deserve a break. I deserve recovery. I deserve rest. If you fight that, if you want to fight it, the only way to really fight it is by I haven't done anything. I really have only just begun. I've only started working just now. Have you ever heard that when people used to come into the Rebbe at 2 a.m. after he had a whole day, and now he's seen like 10 people in Yechidus or 5 people in Yechidus, and now it's 2 a.m., 3 a.m., and somebody walks in. Have you ever heard the descriptions that they used to say? It was like he just woke up from a nap. How is that even possible? So you think he's superhuman? No, he's superhuman. I don't need to understand anything. That's not how things work. If you want to understand something, the Rebbe has bittul. And because he doesn't attribute any of the yechidus that he had until now, any of the things that he's done until now to himself, it's as if he just started the day. Every moment is like I just woke up. I'm just starting now, yeah.
So by us not taking credit and saying that any of my achievements are not my own, we are giving Hashem the credit, and because we're giving Hashem the credit, we're connecting to infinite energy, so there's infinite possibility, and we're able to do whatever we want. And
Including bringing down yes. If Hashem is doing it, Hashem is infinite. If I'm doing it, it's finite.
But you could also be like, because of all of my mistakes, I just want to take a break because I'm making so many mistakes. So
So for that, when you're making mistakes, you have to have lowliness. What does lowliness say? That I am prone to make every single type of mistake on the face of the planet. It's not a big chiddush. I'm not surprised.
but then like the same way vice versa, like all your successes kind of motivate you to just continue going because you see like I'm going so well. Like why would I stop?
Because because I don't know why. Because the moment that people have success, they begin to feel that they want to break. Isn't that how it works for you? Think about it.
But it's the same with mistakes. It's like,
No, with mistakes, it's a different feeling. The feeling is that I put myself down. If I have shiflus, I can't put myself down. What does putting myself down say? Again, let's go through the logic. The logic says, I should have been able to do differently. I should have been able not to make a mistake. And the moment that I set myself up with that statement, believing that somehow I should have not made a mistake, when I do make a mistake, I fall down. But if I begin with the fact that I'm prone to make every single possible mistake in the world, that's my nature. The fact that I didn't make a mistake is a big chiddush. So I become very happy with what I've done.
I'm not talking about and trying to grow it and your Chassidic parents.
But give an example. Don't say mistake in general. Take
I'm
a.
talking about business. Let's say in business
Yeah.
you're very, very successful.
Mm-hmm.
Then I think that it's okay to take a break. You did a lot. Now you can just relax and take a break and then start again.
Is it okay to do that with learning? Let's say, if your business is learning. But you're talking about taking a rest because I can't take anything more in. Not because I had success. Because I'm physically tired. That's something else. We're not talking about what the physical can handle or not. And even that it affects. Because the physical follows the psyche. However the psychology of the person is, if a person sees himself as having just begun, if I see every moment that I've just started the day, that's how I feel, then I have a lot of energy, even if somebody else would have been tired by now. It's just how it works.
I think it's okay to take a break. I don't think that there's a problem.
I didn't say there was a problem. I'm saying what bittul does. Bittul gives you the option, gives you the capability of continuing. Yeah?
You just said that when you have this mindset, you think when you do something right, it's like a novelty or whatever. But being bittul to Hashem doesn't mean that you don't do anything right. It doesn't mean that you can't be a successful.
Of course not.
Of course not what?
You can be very successful, but that's not you, it's Hashem.
But you said that if you just
Okay, that's lowliness. Lowliness makes it so that if something didn't work out, there's no biggie here. Because it's expected. It's expected.
But all because you're bittul to Hashem doesn't mean.
That's not bittul, that's lowliness. Bittul means that whatever I did right, Hashem did.
Why does it mean to be lowly?
Why is it called being lowly?
If you're connected to Hashem, then everything is good anyway.
No, that's bittul.
No, I'm saying, why do you have to be lowly and think badly of yourself when...
It's not thinking badly. Where did you hear that you should think badly? I didn't say you shouldn't think badly of yourself. That's not called thinking badly. It's being realistic.
Being realistic. It's not realistic.
Realism says, the false realism, the false self-image says that I'm perfect. That's really far, right?
That is not most people's false image.
Really?
People think that.
That they're perfect?
No, you lived in it.
I feel like it's been.
Maybe in past generations.
Really?
No, they're not.
But not young people. No one thinks that they're perfect.
Nobody thinks that they're perfect.
Maybe older, but I don't think so.
Just a thought here. You come to the here. Switch places with me for a second, okay? And let's see what you feel. So you come to teach a class, and when you start out, it's very nice. There's about 80% of the girls. And 10 minutes pass by, and there's 50%. Now switch places with me. What do you think? What does that say about you?
Not lowly.
What does that say about you?
Nothing. It's saying about the girls.
It's saying about the girls or it's saying about you?
So you have to
Switch places with me. Don't tell me about the girls. Switch places, now sit here.
You may feel it's you, but it's not you.
Who doesn't? If you could feel that it has nothing to do with what you're teaching or how you're delivering things or how well they're understood, you are an angel. It does not exist as far as I know. Every single person, when they encounter a reality like this, things don't go the way they like them to go, they blame themselves. What does that mean? Because I was supposed to have been able to hold everybody's attention for 50 minutes. But the fact that I can't, what does that say?
It happens every
That I'm a failure.
Yeah,
It doesn't.
You're missing the point. The point is, nobody can escape feeling a failure when things don't go their way. And they feel a failure, just a second, I'll get to you. You don't have to hold your hand up, don't get tired. You feel that way because it's built into us to have an image of ourselves as perfect. Perfect doesn't have to be I'm the most beautiful person, the most eloquent person, the most interesting person in the world, which I happen to be. But it doesn't have to be these things. It doesn't have to be that much. But really in the back of my head, that's what I feel. And when things don't work out the way I want them to, I feel a failure. The only way to really escape that is to assume that the very fact that one person would even be here listening is a tremendous chiddush from Hashem. Tremendous.
What we were talking about for.
So that's having loneliness. Loneliness is I'm not worthy of even one person listening.
But you say that people have a self-image of themselves that they're perfect?
It's because of that self-image that I can't accept the fact that in truth, I'm not even worthy of listening. Yeah. Wait. What's her name? Batsheva. Okay.
How is loneliness the antidote to depression?
To depression. Because the depression is always caused by failure. That's the start of every depression. Things did not go my way. And they didn't go my way because I felt that my way was supposed to happen. But if you don't have that expectation, if you don't think that things have to go your way, if you feel on the contrary, why would anything go my way? Not because I'm a failure, but because it's not guaranteed. When I was born, I didn't come back with a money back guarantee that said, if it doesn't go your way, go get your money back. I didn't. Nobody came with that guarantee.
Maybe that's where people go.
What?
Maybe that's where people commit suicide.
Exactly. That's where it ends up.
Like help.
What?
Antidote supposed to help it.
Yeah. Antidote means that it heals this.
So when you think of yourself
As,
slowly,
what does lowly mean? I have nothing of myself.
that's a little more negative.
No, that's not negative. That's the reality. Sorry, what? Who's talking? Wait. There's a lot of echo here. There's a lot of echo, so I have to hear one by one. So,
means that you are.
wait, so Bathsheba. Okay.
Why can't you
Wait to
spell
remember. What?
loneliness?
Why is it called loneliness? Because that's a direct translation. Shiflus means lowliness. Yes.
It's not really a question that's common. So I think most people nowadays don't think they're perfect, and like the Rebbe even said that.
Who doesn't think this
I
way?
think most people nowadays don't think they're perfect. The Rebbe even said that children nowadays don't need to be criticized, and their own biggest critics. Like in regards to putting things like that with love and understanding.
Right.
And encouragement. But I think that there is a certain sense of complacency.
Wait. Hold on. I can't hear anything.
Guys, stop talking.
I think it's more a sense of complacency where people are like, I know I'm not perfect, but whatever, nobody's perfect. I think that's more interesting.
That becomes a cop out.
Right. So it's not, I think I'm perfect and I'm the best thing ever. It's just, I know I'm not perfect, but that's whatever. Everyone's not perfect.
You're so deserving.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean that, like, I don't relate to the idea of everybody thinks they're perfect and people like crush themselves.
So why is everybody upset when things don't go their way? Why is there such an expectation?
Because when you put in something,
Wait. One by one. I don't know. What?
People,
Yeah, go ahead.
like we always say that, like people are like depressed or whatever because they love themselves so much and they don't think they should be treated in a certain way. That doesn't mean you think you're perfect. You love someone despite.
So maybe you don't like the word perfect, but you have an expectation. It's supposed to be. So what?
Because you love yourself, not because.
So what?
What about if
Nobody owes you anything, even if you put in all the effort in the world. We talked about this.
But depression can stem from the fact that God put us on this world and He made suffering, and people have a hard time, and that's where depression stems from. So I don't think that people do it because they think that they're perfect. No, they don't. That's where low self-esteem comes from, and that's where depression comes from.
Let me give you a good example so that whether what you're saying is correct or not. If a 2-year-old is handicapped, have you ever seen them be depressed? They can't. Because they haven't developed yet an expectation that things should be any different. This is how they are. This is how the world is. It's not how we are. It's how we are relative to what we're expected to be. That's where the problem starts. We have expectations. I call them seeing ourselves as perfect, and you may be okay to change that word for something else. But it really means we can't accept that things go a different way than we expect them to.
Do you think that it's attainable? It's all in a nutshell.
No, that's what I want to get into today.
So
Yes.
I get like what you're saying, like it's if you're like constantly like blaming yourself, like, oh, this failed, and if you like put that on Hashem, then you won't have, but it won't. So I get why it can like make you not feel depressed, but it can't make you feel good when you don't have anything to credit yourself for either.
No, but it allows you to start doing
So
because
it puts you from
it stops you from falling.
But it doesn't. That's not good.
No, it stops you from falling.
Now you're just like dead inside.
No,
not bad, not
not
good,
at all.
just
No,
nothing.
it stops you first of all, and as we'll see, it causes you to have joy. But that we'll have to explain in a moment. Why? It's not just stopping you from falling; it's pushing you up. It's shiftless. Okay, so lowliness is a motion from above. It's not just going to stop you from lift you up, because it's giving all the responsibility back. Nothing can hurt you on the outside. There's nothing out there that can do anything to you because you have no expectations.
Yeah, but like you'll never feel good about yourself if all the achievements are on someone else.
About yourself because Hashem feels good about you.
That's not like
So we feel bad about
Hashem
us.
wants you here.
You say, oh, I
No, you feel bad about yourself when you stop taking how you feel from Hashem and start giving it to people or to yourself to decide.
You feel good for bad reasons. It's because Hashem feels proud of you. No.
No.
How do you feel pride in what you do if it's all Hashem?
How do you feel pride in what you do? That's we didn't read that, but it's that Hashem gave the opportunity to do this.
So
That's what
He didn't give it to somebody else.
They had to give it to other people.
What?
Gave it to a lot of other people.
No, the specific mitzvah that I just did, He gave to me.
No, but he
It's a different mitzvah. It's a different mitzvah.
No, he gave all the Jews time.
No. The tefillin that I put on this morning, I put on.
But other people also put on.
It's not relevant.
But like,
I don't know. I'm just about me, about somebody else. I'm very happy for somebody else, but it's got nothing to do with how I feel about myself. I merited to have a mitzvah. Yeah. Wait.
Two things. I just have my first one. So this kind of sounds like we're supposed to think of humans as more like simple than complex.
Why?
Because one person would just be like, okay, it's all God. No. Like we're more than. I mean, we're not more than God, but I'm saying we're also emotions, and we have.
We're more than robots.
We're also emotions
And we have an ego, and like humans are made up of more things than just bits.
Right.
So how is this supposed to be expected of us?
You have to strip yourself of a lot of these expectations. Out of this, you have to strip yourself from your self-image. You have to find a way to get rid of it.
So you shouldn't have any expectation of anyone or anything.
Because he wants to do good for you.
Guys, right now, Biden.
On the contrary, we're the ones who make life. We're the ones. What you were saying was that we overthink life. We just overthink it. And the reason we overthink it is because we start.
But Jews are thinkers.
Think about think about Torah. Think about doing good for other people. Those are great things to think about. Yeah, Batsheva.
So, does it make sense to say that when I do something, it's not like, oh, Hashem did this, but rather like, I feel lucky because Hashem gave me the opportunity to do this now, but not saying like, whoa, Hashem just accomplished something great, because that's really taking yourself out of the picture completely.
It's both of them.
Someone have bits all ideas, like, I want there to be a something that's been
Right.
not completely.
Right, that was the that when Hashem looks at me, He says, I wanted to partner with you, I wanted you to make a choice, and I wanted the merit for you. Yes. But don't carry the merit around. Don't say I did it. Just say, I was fortunate enough.
Like
Even. It's called an inconsequential aid. I was part of it. What, do I deserve the credit for it? No. But Hashem decided I should be part of it. Okay? Let's put this together by saying again like this. Yeah, you want to, Menucha?
Yeah, you're saying that when you have like expectations that things should have been different, and you have disappointment, obviously. But in life, if you have no expectations, what should be your like view on things?
You should have goals, but not expectations.
So you should never have expectations ever?
Trust me. If you can get away with not having any expectations, you're going to have a Gan Eden in this.
But don't you feel like
Here, what?
But don't you feel like you just be like this like floaty little naive person if you have no expectations of anything?
You should be tamim. Yeah, if you mean by naive tamim, yes. If you mean something else, like somebody who's not aware of the fact that they have expectations, like be naive that maybe I don't have any expectations and everything's just gung ho, probably not a good idea. But tamim means exactly that, doing things sincerely. Let's go back to something that I talked about. Who here thinks the girls are talking about her?
Or what?
I mean,
Who else?
in this moment or in general?
No, in general. Who feels?
Everyone here is obsessed with me. Everyone is obsessed with me. I always tell people, I'm like, I would trust one thing. I would trust one thing.
The truth is that you don't know.
What does it matter?
You don't know. You may be right, and you may be wrong. Why is it that people assume that if I'm being spoken about, first of all, it must be negative? And secondly, why do people really think that they're being spoken about?
Because we're teenage girls.
Because
It could be that you overheard or
They talk about people.
because
What you're doing, if you heard people talk about this and this, you would assume the same thing. Yeah.
okay, because so you get so one possibility that I just assume that everybody is like me, and since I speak about everybody, so it must be that everybody else speaks about me. What is that called? What is that called? That's called arrogance. That's called everything in the world. That means that everything in the world is just a copy of me. That's not true. Yeah, because if I do this, it must be that everybody else does this. Why couldn't I think that me is the only one who fails this way? Fine. So I heard another person, and now I have this idea that whatever I hear is what really exists in the entire world. Meaning I know the truth about the world. That is arrogance. That's not just expectations, it's arrogance. It means that I see some kind of projection of myself. That's a tremendous mistake to make. Even if it was that somebody was speaking about me, what should I assume? Which?
That they're not speaking about you in the first place.
Exactly. Even if I think that I heard somebody was speaking about me, to learn how to close my and assume that I misheard and I don't know what I'm talking about. Why? Because the other option is going to lead me down which path? That people are talking negative things about me. It's going to lower my self-esteem. And it does all this because of one thing only. Not because it really... Why would my self-esteem if somebody is talking about me? Or saying something negative about me? What has that got to do with anything? Remember the story that I told you about Reb Usher? That they put a poster up that says it's terrible of it. What did he say?
But, I know this, that he wants...
I can't fight this because every word is true.
Yeah.
They said, what, you did these Averos? No, you said, what, do you think that because I didn't do these Averos, I'm not capable of it? Who's holding me from doing... If they're talking these negative things about me, so Hashem told them to say that. Who was in that situation except for Reb Usher? Moshe Rabbeinu was sitting in the tent, and Miriam and Aaron talk about him. He's there, he's listening to it. And they say what? Look at Moshe. We also are prophets, but he left his wife. What kind of thing is that? What does he answer them? Nothing. And the Torah says, "Vayish Moshe anav mikol adam asher pnei adama." The man Moshe is more humble than any other person in the world. Why do you have to say that there? Because he was there in the tent and he said nothing. Because anava means, and even if it's not right what you're saying, factually it's not right, it's not true, it's not correct. Who told you to say this?
We're not just leaves in a way.
No, because that's the bad thing. I mean, Hashem doesn't take credit for the affairs. So he did.
Who said it's an affair?
Say things bad about another person.
Who said it's an affair? To help me.
No, Lashon Hara.
When you come into, why Lashon Hara? If I happen to hear what you say, like we said before, because I'm perfect, and you're wrong. But if I have shiflus and I say I'm not perfect, I heard something negative about myself. You're right, I have to correct it.
But it's not true.
Who told you it's not true? Search. How do you know? That's how do you know it's true? If I am able,
I'm saying that you did something.
even if I never did this, I'm being told that I'm capable of doing this.
But you can't let other people tell you what you think
It's not other people. Again, you have that somehow somehow other people are all around you trying to do something to you. They're not. Hashem is around you trying to get a message across.
It's not being like being human or physicality. And what we're supposed to do is the physical and the spiritual.
What's the connection? We're not talking about here physical and spiritual. We're talking about how your psychology has to work. This is being a human being. The human side of me is faulty. It's frail. It makes mistakes. It's capable of everything that's negative.
It also does good things.
So what? We're not talking about that now. And if it does anything good, it's because Hashem did it. Take away the pain that you're causing yourself. You're causing yourself pain by putting yourself in the center, thinking that you're perfect. Nobody should talk about me. And if they do, it must be something negative. You have to take that away. You have to neutralize that. Otherwise, your whole life, you're going to be worried. You're going to be a paranoid person of everybody who's talking about them. Yeah.
Back to the expectations thing.
Yeah.
How do you balance not having any expectations and not being like stepped on? Because also in a friendship or in a relationship with a spouse, you should expect, whatever, I don't know, you should expect to be treated a certain way. Like there are basics,
I just read a letter from the Rebbe that some woman wrote to him saying that her husband has these and these terrible qualities. Listen to this, what he answered. What did he say? What did he say? Ignore it. He said, ignore them. Ignore these terrible qualities. Why? Because he's not stupid. And if he sees that you're ignoring it, he doesn't... I added that he's not stupid. He doesn't write he's not stupid. But he said he will realize after a while that you are doing something for him by ignoring this. And it will change the relationship between you.
What do you mean? Basically by acknowledging that you're feeding it, by ignoring it, you're
maybe. He doesn't write what the mechanism is.
Quality on purpose to annoy her.
Terrible quality, and she thinks that she needs to criticize him. And every time that she criticizes him, what happens? They get into a big argument because guess what he can't stand hearing? Why can't he stand? Because he thinks he's amazing and perfect. And if you criticize him, what is that going to do? It makes it worse. So the Rebbe says... Wait. Hold on. So the Rebbe says, ignore it. Ignore it. For as long as you need to, ignore it. It will change the relationship between you when you ignore it. And it will make things better. Whereas the criticism will only make things worse. Now this is...
Why can't you communicate without conflict?
Because it's causing conflict. Because he feels that he's perfect in this area. Sometimes you can communicate with somebody.
That's not a healthy marriage.
No, it got nothing to do with healthy or not. First of all, I'm telling you that this is the norm. So healthy or not, I don't know what you're talking about. But
if you can't communicate,
no, there are many things in life that you cannot communicate about. There are many things that a person will feel too hurt if you tell them what you think. So are you supposed to tell it to them even though he hurts you with them? So you have to be smart. The way to deal with this is to ignore it. Now the person, you might think by ignoring it, and this is what Menucha asked, you're being trampled upon. Says the Rebbe, you won't be trampled upon. This is what's going to change the situation.
You're supposed to just ignore all your issues?
Not your issues, their issues.
But what if that's your issue?
It's something that affects you.
Of course it affects me. But that's what it means to ignore it. That I'm not looking at how it affects me.
But that could get to you.
It could.
You just keep ignoring it.
How do you know that's not healthy? Have you ever tried it?
You can't just ignore it.
Because you've been brought up to think. Here's where I get into a little bit of criticism. We grew up in a society that has, for the duration of your life and probably the duration of my life, been telling us that you need to confront everybody about everything. Pretty much.
It's different than a random stranger or like a.
And a random stranger too. Because you just stepped on my lawn, or you just did this, or you did that.
Because you don't have to live with them.
Because you don't want to be a pushover.
Marriage is
Yeah, and in marriage, I definitely don't want to be a pushover. Listen carefully. This may save your marriage. Listen carefully.
Talk about it, but if it's still not.
Listen carefully. This may save your, if you remember this line, it may save your marriage one day. You can never be a pushover when you decide to get married.
What?
You cannot be a pushover if you decide to get married to somebody. You're not a pushover. Ignoring somebody's problems, ignoring their faults, ignoring what's wrong with them is not being a pushover. It's taking care of your marriage. Now, there are times when even a marriage cannot be saved. But those are very, very rare. Not the way it is today, that 50% of marriages don't go well. I'm not talking about the frum world, where it's less, but it's not that much less. People do not know how to handle a relationship. They don't know how to ignore it. They don't know how to act deaf and blind. And you have to know how to do this in any relationship, all the more so one that's so intense as living with somebody for your whole life. Yeah.
Is it bad to ask someone would you be able to change that?
Oh, of course not. It doesn't start by anything that I see we can't talk about. Of course we need to try to talk about something. But if you try, and what it causes is continual pain and hurt and whatever, so the other option is ignore it. And that'll make it better. I'm not talking about if you're being beaten up.
So you're saying it's okay it's bad to like attack someone and criticize, but it's not a problem to voice what's going on.
Of course not.
for you.
If you can communicate about that topic. But there are many topics that you can't communicate about. Yeah.
It's a little bit like of what we're doing right now, but if someone gets a divorce, was that God's plan for them all along? Was God enough for a marriage? Depends.
I have to talk to them. I don't know. I don't know. I have to see if the person tried. Again, there are marriages that are unsalvageable. There are times that the two people really don't fit.
So then were they, because we learned that when you marry someone, it's your basher, even if it's just for that moment. So a marriage that ends badly was still basher.
It still had its value.
Is it true you have 7 bashards?
You have 7 basherts? Why stop at 7? You have 1 million. Men have 1,000. What?
It's like, do you have to marry your
I don't
not all
know.
of them.
This all sounds really.
Like, what, can it be your share and then you break up before your wedding? Yeah. Yeah. They're saying there's levels.
2 years ago there was a young girl. She was 23, and she was engaged to somebody that everybody around him recognized as the holy man. He was 25, mamish holy, like a guy who davens for 4 hours a day, who learns all day, who's just beloved on everybody loved him. And a week before they got married, they had not a week before they got married. The day after they had their vort. So she went home after the vort, and it was in his parents' l'chaim. Vort is by the Litvish, I guess. So it's a l'chaim. That night, she went to sleep in her parents' home, where she lives, and the vort, the l'chaim, was at his parents' house. And the next morning, he didn't wake up. Okay? He died in his sleep. He wasn't. Yeah. So what do you say? What would you say to somebody?
I would
do you say?
You don't say anything. You say, I'm really sorry.
No, but sometimes you're called upon to say a little bit more than just, I'm sorry for your loss. So what is it? What was the purpose of all this? What's the meaning behind it?
That's something you
Sometimes you just don't know.
You're not like supposed to like figure out why bad things happen.
Still, what can you say? So what? So one possibility, and that's, I don't know how much it helped her. We talked about the fact that he was going to pass away on that date anyway. And she gave him the 3 most pleasant months of his life, even knowing that he was going to get married to her. She made the last 3 months of his life. He wasn't ill or anything. He just suddenly passed away. But it made those months, he left this world feeling affection, and that somebody is willing to spend their lives with him. And she did that for him. She didn't get anything back.
You did?
I talked about it with some other people. And in the end, who put the words, whether they helped or not? So Hashem had a good thought. He comes up with a good thought sometimes. That's the mistake. If I think that it's me, then it won't have the same effect.
Because then it's like self-worth.
I'm out to get points. But I think it's important to know this, to share whether it was successful or not successful. I can't tell you exactly 100% because we didn't meet afterwards. I didn't hear. But I know that she's back to normal.
Is she married?
But she's not married yet. And but I think that it's important to know that people have interesting ideas about what you can say to somebody who's lost something very dear. There are things to say. If you want to read something, she made it public, so I think you should read it. Hindel Swerdlov lost a daughter 13 years ago. And she put up a post, probably 2 months ago when Rav Steinsaltz passed away. She put up a post about one of her meetings with him, what he told her about her situation 7 or 8 years or 5 years after her daughter was killed. It's a very interesting post. You should read what he won't say it because it's worth reading it because she also said it very, very eloquently. It's on Facebook. It's on her page. You guys don't know what Facebook is. So download it, find Hindel. It's a public post. Everybody can read it. Okay. So